Hi everybody, I'm Mike Garska with SuccessToolChest.com and FindAMentor.com. Welcome to this week's Help Me Communicate, where I help you be a better communicator. Today I'm going to talk about 4 things that you can do when you find out that your mature teenager or your young adult child is withholding information and kind of lying to you. Remember, they're all doing it. So here's 4 things that you can do. And what brings this up for me, is a conversation I recently had with a Muslim woman friend. And she found out, or she thinks she found out, actually nothing was verified, that her son was in a relationship and he wasn't telling her about it. And so the first thing I said to her is, consider the fact of what he's going through. He comes from a very strict Muslim family, both big extended family, and he is afraid that he won't get approval if it's even happening. She didn't verify that it was happening. And he has a lot of people to keep happy. His mom, his dad, his sisters, his aunts, his uncles, his cousins, his grandparents. And if it's not a relationship that he thinks would be approved of, then he's going to withhold that information in order to keep him safe, his parents safe, and his girlfriend safe. Here's the 4 things that I want you to do, and we'll continue on with this story as we go. Number 1, realize that 99.9999999% of people scowl. They secret keep, SK, they omit, O, they withhold, W, and they lie. And all of us do it to some degree. We do it to keep ourselves safe. We do it to keep other people safe. We do it to prevent conflictual and uncomfortable conversations. Likely, you're doing it yourself right now. You likely have different people that you scowl with. You either secret keep, withhold, omit, or lie. And you do it to keep them safe, whether it's somebody of a different religion or a coworker or somebody of the same religion in your religious community that you're afraid to tell them about something. It might be a family member. It might be, it could be anybody. But guaranteed, I'm pretty sure, I haven't yet to meet somebody who doesn't scowl. And I've traveled to 5 continents and almost 30 different countries. I have a big multicultural network. And I have yet to meet someone who doesn't secret keep, omit, withhold, and lie to some degree with certain people. So the first thing I want you to do is release your judgment. Accept that 99.99999% of people scowl. They secret keep, omit, withhold, and lie. Number 2, this next thing that you can do is put yourself in their shoes. Remember when you were a kid. Now, as children, as young adults especially, all kinds of new things happen that the older generations don't approve. When I was a child, rock and roll was big and new, and marijuana and all kinds of things were coming in, and none of that was accepted by our parents. They didn't like rock and roll. What kind of music is that? And now it makes me laugh when I listen to these rock and rollers say, "What's this rap stuff about?" And they wonder, and they have the exact same judgments on rap as their parents did on rock and roll, and they forget what they were like. Release the judgment. Put yourself in their shoes. Remember when you were a young person and experimenting with new things. It happens. It reminds me of my son, a story. He was about 18 or 19 by this time, and I pulled out some liquor because I was having some friends over, and they're, kind of had a little stock of every kind of alcohol and beer, wine, and the different hard stuff. And a bottle of vodka had about, a couple of inches left in it, and I pour out a drink for a friend, and it's water. And my son's in the crowd. Look at him. What the? He says, he starts laughing at me. He says, "Dad, I did that 3 years ago. We hadn't opened that bottle of vodka or poured anybody a drink of vodka for 3 years. I don't drink a lot, so it's not uncommon for a bottle of alcohol to sit in the cabinet for 3 years getting untouched. But 3 years later, he started laughing at me. Remember that as kids grow, they start to release more information, and you'll find out things that they did as teenagers and young adults that you'll be surprised about, but you'll be more accepting of. They're more confident in their at a different stage of life, and so they're willing to share some of those things that they weren't willing to share at a young age. But put yourself in their shoes. Remember when you were young and the things that you had to withhold, and release your judgment. Again, this is the biggest thing. Release judgment. Everybody does it. You did it. Allow your child the opportunity to do what you allowed yourself the opportunity to do, and release that judgment. Get curious. Accept. The third thing is accept you don't know everything about your kids. And you're not going to know everything about your kids, just like your parents didn't know everything about you. So accept that fact. You do not know everything that's going on in their life. You don't know the situations that they're going through. You don't know what peer pressures are on them. You don't know what their thoughts and feelings are. And honor that and realize that they don't have to share everything with you, just like you don't have to share everything with everybody. We as humans have that right to withhold, to keep things to ourselves. And we mostly do it to keep people safe, to keep ourselves safe, to keep people we love safe, or to prevent conflict and confusion and chaos. And it's okay to do that once in a while. I know there's, with my significant other, with my wife, I share 99.9999% of the stuff, but there are a few things that I withhold because it's not worth having the conversation. It's very few, but it does happen. Different friends I share different things with, different workers, different co-workers. I consult to different kinds of businesses. Some co-workers or clients I'll share some things with, and I won't share other things with. It really depends on the situation, and we're all allowed to do that. But accept that you do not know everything that's going on in their lives, and that they're not going to let you know everything unless they get to the point that they feel so safe that it really doesn't matter. And it's rare that our children get to feel so safe that they're not worried about hurting themselves or us as parents. It's really rare. So honor that, and honor that you don't know everything. If you are, number 4, if you are going to have that conversation with them, plan. Make sure you know how you're going to respond. And the more, if you don't accept what's going on, remember that pushes them further away and it makes them want to withhold more. If you judge negatively what's going on, it is going to push them away. That's just reality. I've talked to lots of parents who didn't accept some of the things their children do, and they are estranged from their children. Are you willing to have that consequence? Consider that before you have that conversation. Ask yourself, what consequences am I willing to live with? This is part of planning. And the other part of planning, let's talk about the best way to approach this. Number 1, if you're going to plan, if possible, plan to have an unbiased mediator present that you both can trust. That's a great option if it's available to you. It's not always available, or it's not available to very many people actually. But if it is available to you, consider that option. Number 2, maybe consult with mentors or that you respect as good communicators, but don't consult with people that have not got a good outcome from dealing with the same situation, unless you're consulting with them to find out what not to do. But there's more people that get bad outcomes from broaching subjects about things that have been withheld or lied or omitted than they get good outcomes. Having said that, when you do get a good outcome, the relationship gets stronger and it gets deeper. And the best way to try and get a good outcome is to plan. Have a mediator if you can. And what do you plan? Well, the first thing to plan is ask yourself, in your planning, ask yourself tons of questions. And then write down the best way to approach things. Now, here's the questions that you ask. The first thing you ask is about your own human interaction process. As humans, when anything happens to us, we're communicating and we're reacting in this format. There's 5 things that happen. We hear or see something. Then one of our 5 senses kicks in. So it could be the other 3, but typically it's we hear things or we see things. And then we get a perception and a thought about that. Then we get a feeling about that. Then we get an intention, and then we choose our action. And our action can be choosing words, it can be silent, it can be doing nothing, or it can be doing a million different things. But we sense, we think, we feel, we intend, and we act. And so the first step in planning is to find out what's going on for me. What did I hear? What was my thought about that? How do I feel about it? And what's my intention? And write all of that down. And consider that you may be inaccurate as to what you saw or what you heard. It might not be the whole truth. So keep that open mind as you're planning. Number 2, that what you want to do is consider what your son's or daughter's hip might be. What did they hear or see or witness? How do they feel about that? What do they think about it? What do they want? What's their intention? And write those questions down. Write down what you think they might be, but know that you could be wrong. So write down those what you saw or heard, thought, felt, and what you want, what your intention is. Write down what you think they witnessed, what they're going through that made them do what they're doing. How they think about it, what they feel about it, and what their intention is. Write it all down. Because when you go into the conversation, you want to make sure that you've asked them all these questions. What happened that I heard? This is what I heard. I heard that you're seeing somebody new. What happened for you? What happened that made that happen? Tell me a story and find out. And say, I'm not going to judge you. I just want to hear. You know, I want to know what's going on in your life. I love you. I care about you. I want to know what it must be exciting to have a new person in your life. Well, what happened? How did you meet? Tell me what happened. What brought you together? What were your thoughts about it? And how do you feel? And what do you want? And ask them those 4 questions. That's what you do when you're having the conversation. You plan, you write all that out, and you ask them. And have your list with you. So you make sure you always keep coming back to what did you hear? What did you see? What did you think about it? How did you feel about it? What do you want? What's your intention? And as the conversation expands and evolves, keep coming back to that. Okay, when I said this, what were your thoughts about it? When I said this, how did you feel? What do you want after hearing what I just said? And you don't, the number 1 rule here is when you start that conversation, is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So what you do is you broach the conversation. I heard that you're seeing somebody and I don't know about it. And I want to know. So you're sharing what you heard, what the facts are, what you witnessed, and what you want. So you're skipping the thought and the feeling in this because you want to go straight into inquiry before you share your whole agenda. So this is what I heard. I want to know. Tell me about it. What happened? And realize that you might not hear things correctly. So you have to clarify in that conversation. Okay, so what I heard you say is you met this person here and you felt this and it went here and it went there. Am I correct? And you make sure that you're interpreting what they heard correctly or saw. You're interpreting what they're thinking about that correctly. You're interpreting how they're feeling about that correctly, and you're interpreting what they want correctly. And as the conversation evolves, you're going to have to go back and forth and always ask, okay, after we've talked about this, now what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What are your intentions? And ask and clarify. And every time you clarify to make sure that you got it right, you're going to get yeses until you do. And don't stop clarifying until you get yeses. And eventually in this type of a conversation, then before you even share your own agenda, you get 4 yeses. Yes, Mom or Dad, you're right. That's what happened. Yes, Mom, that's what I witnessed. Yes, Mom or Dad, you're right. That's how I think. Yes, Mom or Dad, you're right. That's how I feel. Yes, Mom or Dad, you're right. That's what I want. Okay, then share your agenda. And after sharing your agenda, ask them again. When you hear what I just said, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What's your intention now? And keep going back and forth. Always seek to understand what's going on for them and then to explain. And as they share what's going on for them and you get clarification on what their senses, thoughts, feelings, and intentions are, you'll get closer and it'll clarify and they'll get clear on what's going on for you. Keep an open mind as you're doing this process. And go back and forth with getting each other's hips. As you get each other into that affirmative, you get the other person into that affirmative, saying yes, that you're getting them. You're showing that you're caring, that you're seeking to understand. You get them in that affirmative. When you're in that affirmative state, and you're both nodding, and yeah, we're interpreting correctly. We're in that affirmative state, and it's easier to find common ground and find solutions. So back and forth with each other's hip, seeking to understand. And in that, you will find the common ground and find the resolution. And when you find resolutions and go forward processes and solutions in situations like this, the relationship gets tighter and stronger. And you'll find there's less scowling in that particular relationship. The more you judge negatively another person's scowling attempts, the more you push them away. The more you accept them and honor that is their truth and their reality, the more you build trust, the more you accept it and release your judgment. You know, like in this situation with the Muslim family, typically marriages were arranged in the last generation. Now that these kids are growing up in North America, they're not wanting that, and they're afraid to hurt their parents, and they're afraid to hurt their family, their extended family. And so if that situation comes up unexpectedly, and often it's unexpected, they keep it safe. And if we push our old traditional agendas on our children, the chances of alienating goes higher. And you know, we're talking about Muslims in this situation, but I know that my parents were not allowed to marry anybody that wasn't Catholic. They were Polish. My parents, my grandparents immigrated from Poland. My dad was born in Poland, came here when he was 2. My mom was born about a year after her family got here. They weren't allowed to date French people. You know, things have changed. Every generation grows in acceptance, especially in a country like Canada. And that's in the United States. And that's what's going to happen. So we have to adjust for that. And realize that the things that our parents didn't like about our lifestyles when we were kids, there's going to be things that we don't like about our kids' lifestyle as we're adults, because things are changing and evolving. Gay relationships were not accepted when I was a teenager. Now they're completely accepted. We're talking about LGBTQ. We're talking about all kinds of things that would never, you would have been shot or hung or there's a lot of negative things that would have happened if you would have came out in my generation as a teenager in comparison to now. And when as teenagers, if you're a teenager watching this, when you become a parent and you're 40 and 50 years old, chances are you're going to have the same judgments on your kids as your parents do right now. You say, no way, I would never do that. But, you know, there's going to be something new to rap, or there's going to be a new kind of religion, or there's going to be all kinds of new things that come up that you're going to have a hard time accepting, but it'll be commonplace for your younger people. To finish off, I just want to, again, run through the list. First of all, realize that 99% of people scowl. Release the judgment. Number 2, put yourself in your kids' shoes. They're protecting their parents, and they're protecting themselves and their girlfriend, or whoever else they're protecting, depending on the situation. Accept that you don't know everything. That's reality. You don't know what's going on. You don't know their whole life. And you're never going to know it. People don't share everything. And if you're going to have the conversation, plan. In the conversation, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Go back and forth, exploring each other's true reality, what they're truly thinking, feeling, intending, and seeing, and wanting. And honor that it's valid. Validate their thoughts and their feelings and their intentions. Whether you agree with them or not, they're real for them. They're authentic. Validate them. And learn to release your judgment and accept them. And in that conversation, go back and forth and get yeses so that you're sure everybody's clear and understanding and interpreting things correctly. And in that, it's easier to find common ground and find solutions and move to that next level and prevent it from happening in the future. When you can successfully navigate these crucial conversations, relationships get stronger. So if you have the strength, if you have networks that can support you and guide you to do these sensitive conversations effectively, use them and do them, and it makes your relationships stronger. I hope you enjoyed today's Help Me Communicate. I hope you got something out of it. I'm gone for the next 3 weeks for holidays. When I come back, I'm going to do a series in August about multicultural communication, how to communicate. In Canada and the United States, we have lots of multiculturalism. And different people come different ways, think different things, and approach things differently. And it can create a little bit of chaos and judgment and negative judgment and angst in workplaces. So I'm going to deal with and talk about, I'm going to do a series on multicultural talk in August. I won't be here for 2 weeks. Please like the videos if you like them. Go to successtoolchest.com. All of our Help Me Communicates are posted there. There's almost 40 there now on all kinds of different subjects. If you're having trouble communicating about a particular issue or in a particular situation, go through the vlog posts and see if there's one that might help you. Like our posts, like our pages, like our Facebook pages. Check out findamentor.com. We, it's free to register as a mentor or a mentee. If you're a mentor, pay it forward. Mentor somebody's only 10 minutes a month or a half an hour a month that you need to give somebody guidance that doesn't have a mentor in their network in that area of life that's important to them. There's 1,900 different categories of Find a Mentor that you could be a mentor or a mentee at. Go out and make it an awesome day. Like our pages. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, at Find a Mentor, or at Success Tool Chest. Go out and make it an awesome day, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye for now.